Hey guys, today I want to talk about how I make seven figures a year building small spec homes in my area. And guess what? You can too. I want you to know that, I'm making this video as a person that has built hundreds of homes. I've bought hundreds of lots, obviously, and I know how this process works. Now, you may live in a different part of the country, but it's all basically the same steps. But so you're learning from a guy that's done everything, and I've been doing this for many years. So when you're a couple hundred homes in, you know how this process works. You've made tons of money, right? Let's be honest, millions of dollars, and everything is smoothed out. I've got my subs laid out. I've got all everything. I've got the whole process laid out, and it's kind of like it's kind of like this. We can build our houses in 60 days. So that's what I want for you. And that's what this video is about. I wanted to just start off on a personal note by telling you that I'm not a fancy, flashy guy. Okay. I live in a multi million dollar home. I have a place down on the water near me, but you can see in my videos, I just wear hats and I wear just plain t shirts. This is how I dress. I wear shorts. And one thing you don't know about me is I'm actually sitting in a wheelchair right now because I have severe muscle spasms that, after almost 3 years, to this point at least, no one can figure out what the heck is going on with me. So this is not, I'm not bragging. I believe in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So I'm not allowed, I don't lie and I don't brag, and I could care less. Really, the things on this, the things that we accumulate really don't mean that much, is my point. But we still live on this planet and we need to find a way to make a living. And this is what this purpose of this video is for me to help teach you how to get started on making money in real estate, if that's a potential goal of yours. I wanted to also slide this in. I know that I'm not the most enthusiastic person on YouTube, but what I'm trying to do is relay information that I have up here, and I have tons of it, to people like you that may need it, my friends. So comment below if you have any questions at all about anything this video talks about. So I might not be the best communicator, but I have the information that can help you grow your own business if this is what you're into. When I started building homes many years ago, it was a struggle and I lost money. I mean, over the years, I have lost money on homes that I've bought personally and homes that I have built, particularly in the very beginning when you're in the learning phase. So let's remember that building homes or building spec homes or building your own home, whatever, is just like getting a new job, right? You have to learn. You start a new job, it takes a while. It might take you a month or two until you're comfortable with the people and you're comfortable with what you're doing and you know what you're doing. It's no different with real estate. Building homes is not rocket science. It's easy, but it's a hassle, right? There's problems. There's always a problem. My motto for my company is the tagline is where there's always a problem. So there is always a problem, but in the end, it pays off considerably. And I believe the forecast and what I believe for 2026 is that interest rates, Trump is going to get the interest rates down, and we're going to start seeing real estate move again for a change. It's been a very slow last 2 or 3 years. So it's a good time to think about jumping into this. And I want to teach you how to do this and how to get started, even if you don't have the money yourself. So I want to talk about, if you're in a situation where you don't have the money to start with a spec home, I want to lay out a basic roadmap in this video on how you get started in this business. I've already talked about the losses I had, and I don't want you to go through that. There's no excuse. There's no reason that you would build a spec home and lose money. That never should happen. You should always be under the retail sales price, well under the retail sales price for your total cost, your total net investment in the property. But going back to people that don't have the assets or the financial ability to start a spec home, much less do 8 or 10 at a time like I do, there's a thing called hard money, and I have another video. If you want to look in my channel, I have another video about hard money lending and how it works. Basically, to sum it up real quick for you, is if you don't have money, you can go to a hard money lender. Just Google it in your area. There's lenders everywhere. Now they're going to collect 10, 12% on you per month while you have the money out. But it's a great way. I have lots of friends that do this. In our market, they borrow the money. They don't have the money even to build one house themselves. But now they do, because they've been doing hard money new construction for quite a while. So the only difference is if you have cash, obviously you can, if you're building a $300,000 home sales price at the end, that house might cost you, $230,000 to build it, right? And you're going to have a contractor involved too. That's another issue, uh, another part of the roadmap. But the first thing is the money and figuring out the financial aspect of it. So if you have questions about that, put it in the comments below and I can answer anything you need to know about that. If you have cash, obviously this is not a problem. The second step in this process for this roadmap would be finding a contractor to work with, right? You're going to need a licensed builder, if you happen to be one, I'm sure you'd be doing this anyway. So you're going to need to find somebody or check several contractors, and you're going to have to make a deal with a contractor because they're going to have to run your project, and they're going to build it. They're going to be financially responsible, meaning that you got to find somebody that's trustworthy that you can make your payments to onto a draw system or however they want to do it. And make sure that all that fits into your projected build cost, right? So you can do comps in your area. If you want to comment below where you live, I can kind of look up. I'm also a licensed agent. I'm an agent in Florida, but I can pretty much look up comps, sold properties. You can do this on Zillow even. Just look up sold properties in your area, recent sold properties, and basically the square footage and the idea of the condition of the comps, and try to get an idea of what a house like you're thinking about building would sell for in the end, because then that's your roadmap. Is you're going to write that down. You're going to find this builder, figure out what he's going to cost, figure out if you're needing hard money, you need to add that into the calculations. And then from there, we're going to move on to your first property, right? We got to find a lot. We got to find some land to build on. Typically, I don't buy large plots of land and develop areas and develop the property into 100 homes. I don't do that. To me, that's too much of a financial risk. I like to stick to small projects. You can see from my thumbnail, all of my houses are between around 1,100 square foot up to 1,330 square foot. So the 1,100 square foot house is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, beautiful home, granite in the kitchen. Has a pantry, 1-car garage with an opener, and these are on a 1/4 acre. Then I have another model that's the first one's like a cottage-looking house. You can see it in the thumbnail. Another house I have is longer, it's wider. It's still a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a 1-car garage. And that one is about 1,220 square foot living. Still very nice little home. And then the last one is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a 2-car garage, a little bit bigger home, 1,330 square foot. But obviously, in today's market, these are expensive. Even the small home, and this is where affordability comes in. Even my small home, I sell it for $199.9, and they have been sitting for most of the year. I actually just got a few contracts the other day, but prior to that, I didn't have one for months. So I believe the market is turning and things are going to happen next year. Anyway, that's what I build, and I would suggest that I would start with just an affordable small home, no matter what area you're in. Now, you're not going to build a small home in an area of $1 million homes, right? You wouldn't be able to afford the lot probably in there to even do that. So you want to find all my houses I build on the outskirts of the town. So 10, 15 miles from a town, usually you can find neighborhoods that have lots or maybe new stuff going on. But you want to you got to get your land. And I have a separate video. Check that out on how to buy raw land and the gotchas and what to look for and what to avoid, right? There's lots of things that can go wrong just with the piece of property you buy. The next step on the roadmap would be taking this piece of land that you bought and clearing it. And so I strongly encourage you, as you're looking for subs, this is something I haven't talked about, but I'm going to talk about subs next. But regarding the clearing, this would be one of your subs. You need to get 3 or 4 quotes on the piece of property that you have. If it's treed, even if it's not treed, you're going to want it. It needs to be root raked and cleared and ready for either septic or well hookup, water, all the things. Lots of pieces and parts to this, but again, it's not that hard. You can do it. Let's talk about subcontractors for a second here. So earlier in the video, I talked about the fact that you're going to need a contractor, right? You're just you don't hold the license to be a contractor builder in your state. You're going to need to work with a contractor. So that's again somebody you need to shop around for. Maybe your family knows or a friend knows a contractor that is trustworthy. That's super important. But going back to the subs, so that's the main contractor, and he may have the subs already that he likes to use. Okay, subcontractors meaning your HVAC, which is your air conditioning, heating, your plumbing, and your electrical. Right, these 3 things you're going to need trades for. So most of the time, if you hire a contractor, he's already going to have these subs that he's comfortable with. But when you have your plans made, this is another part of the roadmap. When you pick out a plan for a house, let's say you're going to just find a small house online. You can go to these sites that have layouts and designs and measurements and whatever for a small house, right? Not a tiny home, but I'm thinking you want to be somewhere around 1,100 square foot minimum, so it's big enough for a family, but still affordable, and that's a big key. But anyway, the subcontractors that this contractor himself uses, the tradesmen that this contractor uses, they may not be the most inexpensive ones to use. So I strongly suggest, even though you have this contractor and he may make you use his subs, in which case you might want to shop around for another contractor, only because there can be serious thousands of dollars of difference in the electrical bid and the plumbing bid and the HVAC bid. I'm talking thousands of dollars. Well, this is thousands of dollars that's out of your pocket at the end of the day when this house sells. So you really want to, you got to watch the dollar bills going in and out. So regarding those trades, you want to shop them and you'll have the plan. The next thing, going back, let me rewind the tape here for a second. So when you're first starting out, you're going to find a contractor. At the same time, though, you want to be having your plan engineered. You take it to an engineer or an architect to have a real plan drawn up, and you can make changes. And then you're going to submit that to your municipality, whether it's a city or a county or whatever, to their permit department, their building department. And with that document, once it's approved, you can start basically shopping it, sending it out for bids. And that's what I mean when it comes to the trades. You want to send out your plan to the trades and get bids on those 3 items: AC, plumbing, and electrical. Very important. And you're gonna find right off the bat, it's gonna be thousands of dollars difference in the bids. So. And then in this business, it's kind of a try them out and see how it goes. Remember that all the tradesmen, from the framing guy and to the guy that puts in the toilets, the plumbing, all these things have to be inspected. So if you pick the cheapest bid for all 3 of these categories, That's okay. You can try them out on your first home. They're going to have to pass, right? You'd never pay. Well, here's another big tip: you never pay somebody before it's on your property. This is how I operate. I operate slightly differently than the norm, but you want to pay for things as they're done, after they're done, and they're on your real estate, your real property. Once it's on there, release payment. And that's going to be something you'll have to go back and forth with your contractor on because he's the one that's paying the subs. So I'm going to try not to make this video 30 minutes to an hour, even though I could talk for hours and hours about this subject. I'm missing a lot of stuff. I know that, but I've given you the kind of the precursor to how to get started on this. If you have any questions at all, please put them in the comment section. I will respond. And if you want a detailed map, if you'd like to see a detailed step-by-step instruction from A to Z on how to build a small house like I do, let me know and I can create one for you. And maybe I'll link it to this video in the description. That might have to be later on. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. You can see my other videos. And you all have a wonderful day.